front, backhander scores! The puck back in. Campoli trying to clear it. Burrows is pressed. Wants the puck loose to Edwards. Back in for Alex Burrows. It's up in the air. Now McKinnon the side. Oh! With the left glove! Are you kidding me? What a save!
Hey, Canucks Nation, Brandon Alston here, play-by-play for the Edmonton Canucks. You've got it locked on the line change, the Vancouver Canucks podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the post-game show. Vancouver Canucks defeat the Blackhawks. No, you're not hearing things. The Canucks actually won. They defeat the Blackhawks 6-3, and only their third win of the calendar year, but the Canucks managed to get a win in the Battle of the Tanks between the two teams. We're going to break it down. We're going to be joined actually by Nick from Windy City Hawkey, who's a Chicago Blackhawks fan, and we're going to talk about the game. We'll talk a little bit about the deadline. Gerald from Headspace Hockey will obviously pop in at some point, as well as Irvin will too. So quite the stacked post game for everybody here tonight, but let's quickly get into the goals, and then I'll bring on Nick from Windy City Hawkey. So let's just go ahead and break down the goals. I'll be 100% transparent. Didn't watch the game. I ended up napping a little longer than I expected, so I missed the game. But it looks like I missed a bit of an entertaining one, at least when it comes to goals. So let's go ahead and break down the goals. Here, Ryan Donato got things started to make it 1-0 Chicago, scoring his 14th of the season at 1:08 of the first period, assisted by Frank Nazar. And then it was Drew O'Connor scoring his 15th of the season at 2:08, assisted by Tom Verlander and Marcus Pettersson to tie it up at 1. Then you had Jake DeBrusk scoring his 14th of the season at 2:32 to make it 2-1 Vancouver, assisted by William and Elias Pettersson. And then the guy who didn't get traded at this deadline, Teddy Blueger, scores his 6th of the season at 6:32 of the first period, assisted by Marcus Pettersson and Max Sasson. That made it 3-1 Vancouver. And then Ilya Mikheyev, former Canuck, scores his 12th of the season at 12 minutes of the first period, assisted by Moore and Bertuzzi. Those were the goals in the first period. So a lot of goals in the first period. Second period, we only had the one lone goal, which was Frank Nazar scoring his 8th of the season at 19:17 of the second period, assisted by Vlasic and Mikheyev. And then the third period, Brock Besser would score on the power play, his 14th of the season, assisted by Carlson and DeBrusk at 2:40 of the third period, and that made it 4-3. And then you had Max Sasson with a empty netter at 18:34 to make it 5-3 Vancouver. This goal was unassisted. And then Brock Besser scores his second of the game, also into an empty net at 19:44, assisted by Rossi and Hronek. So those were your goals. Let's quickly take a look at the game stats. 23 shots for the Blackhawks, 22 for the Canucks. Face-off percentage was a 67.3% for the Canucks, 37 out of 55. And then the Blackhawks were a 32.7%, 18 out of 55. Power play, Canucks were 1 for 4 on the power play, so 25%. The Blackhawks were 0 for 3. Hits were 20-17 in favor of the Canucks. 7 block shots for the Canucks, 4 for the Blackhawks. 13 giveaways each, and then 6 takeaways and 3 takeaways. Quickly taking a look at the player stats. Brock Besser with a 2-goal night was a +1, 19 minutes and 13 seconds of ice time. 1 power play goal, 4 shots, 1 hit. Drew O'Connor with a goal, a +1, 13 minutes and 40 seconds of ice time, 2 shots. Höglander was a -1, 10 minutes and 57 seconds of ice time. Elias Pettersson had an assist, was a -1, 17 minutes and 51 seconds of ice time, 2 shots. So there you go, 2 shots. 1 hit. Teddy Blueger with a goal, a +1, 15 minutes and 58 seconds of ice time, 2 shots, 1 hit. Atsu Ratu, a +1, 10 minutes and 53 seconds of ice time, 2 hits. Max Sasson, a +1 with an assist, 12 minutes and 7 seconds of ice time, 3 shots, 2 blocks. Jake DeBrusk, a goal and a assist, was a -1, 15 minutes and 46 seconds of ice time. 3 shots, 3 hits. Evander Kane actually did play tonight. Was a +1, 12 minutes and 32 seconds of ice time, 1 shot, 1 hit. Liam Ogren, a +1, 16 minutes and 3 seconds of ice time, 1 shot, 1 hit. Marco Rossi, an assist, a +1, 16 minutes and 23 seconds of ice time, 1 hit. Linus Carlson, a assist, +1, 12 minutes and 30 seconds of ice time with 1 shot, 1 block, and 1 hit. Looking at the defensive side, Tom Belander had a assist, +1, 21 minutes and 43 seconds of ice time, 1 shot. Philip Hronik, 1 assist, 25 minutes and 4 seconds of ice time, 1 shot, 1 hit. Zeev Buium with an assist, 14 minutes and 2 seconds of ice time. DPD was a -1, 20 minutes and 8 seconds of ice time, 2 blocks, 3 hits. Marcus Pettersson was a +3 who had 2 assists, ice time of 27 minutes and 12 seconds, 1 shot, 2 block, 1 hit. Victor Mancini had a ice time of 9 minutes and 58 seconds. And that was it. And then Tolopilo, 20 saves on 23 shots, a .870 save percentage. There we go. So now that that's done, let me bring on both Nick and actually Irvin's going to be joining us too. So let's bring on these gentlemen real quick. There we go. I know that was a long-winded spiel, but I wanted to get that out of the way. Nick, first off, welcome to the Line Change. Good to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be joined by Gerald momentarily. He likes to pop in, just unannounced. That's kind of his thing. But yeah, going over the game, what was your initial reaction to the game, Nick?
From a Blackhawks standpoint, clearly loss to veterans lead to the youngest team in the NHL looking like they need to learn how to become a team again. That's pretty much where I was thinking. The start of the game, the Hawks look lost. They didn't know what they were doing with the puck. Granted, Donato got everything started a minute in, but afterwards, nothing looked crisp. The Hawks just looked off. It didn't help that Spencer Knight became sick during the day. That's why he was out of the lineup, and they had an E-Bug as a backup. I would have thought maybe if Knight was on the bench, Soderblom would have been pulled after that third goal of the game for the Canucks, and they would have tried and changed the momentum that way. But when you have an E-Bug, you don't want to throw that guy in a situation like that.
Well, he wouldn't be the first.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been the first, but it would not been the right situation in a spot where the Hawks were losing in their first home game in 32 days. So it kind of makes sense to just let Soderblom let it ride, even though he had a rough game.
Who's the E-Bug that had a win at United Center not that long ago? Do you remember?
That would have been Scott Foster. Now that would be almost 7 years ago.
Number 90, right?
Yep, I have his jersey actually. So he's a legend in Chicago, but you don't want to throw a guy in a situation where you're losing already that early in the game.
What's your jersey right now?
This is a Marcus Kruger jersey.
Kruger.
Cool. Yeah, it's a nice jersey. I've always liked the Chicago jerseys. I'll admit I had a little difficulty with the scoreboard because of how many colors the Blackhawks have in their color palette. So I was like, should I do red? Should I throw a little bit of green in there? I'll admit I had a bit of a tough time before I went with the black and red.
Red, black, and white are their primary colors. The colors in the crest are just accent colors. They aren't technically part of the true colors of the Chicago Blackhawks. So red, black, and white works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oops. Let me just get everyone here. There we go. There you go. That's better. All right. Just waiting for Gerald. Gerald's just almost ready. I think he's in the back there. But let's talk a little bit about the deadline. Obviously, the Blackhawks made that move for trading Foligno to the Wild. Your thoughts on the Blackhawks trading away their captain to the Wild?
Going into the trade deadline yesterday was the first day I really felt like the Blackhawks were going to trade Nick Foligno, because the way he was already talking in past tense. So I started expecting Nick Foligno to be traded. Before yesterday, I was like, okay, I think Nick Foligno is going to stay. I'm pretty much at 90% sure Foligno stays. But when I started hearing Foligno talking kind of in a past tense, I was like, okay, I'm going to be totally understanding if he goes back to Columbus or to Minnesota, because if he went back to Columbus, goes back to the team he captained almost, I think, 8 years for. And if he went to Minnesota, I was like, kind of cool story. He gets to play with his brother and potentially his last NHL season. So Hawks trading him for future considerations. Yeah, it sucks, but it's understandable because the Hawks could not retain at all on his deal since they used up all retention spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like you said, he gets to play with his brother the first time, playing for a very good Wild team that could potentially go far in the playoffs. We'll see who they end up facing in the first round. But they're looking pretty good going into the playoffs. So obviously him getting a chance to play with his brother is huge. But it obviously kind of similar to the Canucks, leaves a bit of a gaping hole when it comes to veterans, that veteran presence. Obviously him being the captain and whatnot is huge. But on that note, not that there's any rush to name a new captain for the Blackhawks, just like with the Canucks. Do you think Bedard could be the one who gets given the C?
Fully anticipating Connor Bedard to get the C this once he puts ink to a new contract extension this coming summer. The writing's been on the wall for ever since Nick Foligno was named captain that he's a stopgap captain for Connor Bedard. And Bedard will get the C, even though I personally think the C could go to Alex Vlasic, who's now officially the longest tenured Blackhawk on the team, which at 24, that's impressive to say he's the longest tenured player on a team. But I would say Bedard gets the C. Bertuzzi will hold on to the A that he now has, and probably Vlasic gets the other A this off season.
I don't have it in front of me right now, but is Bedard already older than Jonathan Toews when he's named captain?
Yes, he is already.
Okay, because as I remember, Toews was like very, very young.
Yeah, Toews was named captain at age 20. Bedard currently is 20 years old.
I think it was a record. Was it a record at the time?
Yeah, Toews was the youngest captain in NHL history when he was named it. And that was then passed up by, I believe it would have been passed by McDavid or Landeskog. I'm not 100% sure there. But Bedard would end up becoming the second youngest captain in Blackhawks history once they do name him this captain.
I don't know about you guys. I'm talking to you, Gerald and Tyler. But I'm pretty, as far as hockey fandom, I'm very Canuck centric, and I only really pay attention to the league as much as it pertains to the Canucks. So having Nick here, I really want to ask him a question of rebuilds. Now, if you're thinking of like a finished product being like a team like Colorado, and someone at the beginning is obviously a team like pretty much Vancouver is right now, where would you measure Chicago in terms of pieces needed till they become a contender?
I truly think the Hawks need to get two truly named, like highly calibered named players on the team to be truly competitive to go on for playoff runs.
Just two?
I really think if they could get maybe two key players this offseason, it's going to be tough because free agency, in my opinion, does not exist anymore with how everyone signs so early at this point. You aren't going to. It's going to take probably a trade in the offseason or trade or two to really get assets. Like, for instance, if Dallas does want to get rid of Jason Robertson, that's a player I would be, if I was Kyle Davidson, I would be targeting and trying to land in Chicago right now. He tried last offseason. Dallas was not ready to move on. Now, if they can't get an extension done with him, I would be like, okay, it's time to make a jump and try and get into that Jason Robertson sweepstake. If it takes a offer sheet, maybe it goes that way because the Hawks have the draft capital to use for offer sheets.
Yeah. The way player movement has gone the last couple of years, it almost feels like the trade market is more like the new free agency, where it only comes up when players are like in an untenable situation. The first one I really noticed was Matthew Tkachuk. Like I don't think anybody saw it coming, where he was just like, I'm out of here.
Definitely.
Yeah. Gee, what's up?
Hey man, sorry guys. I've just been tweaking around with StreamYard because trying to do this sequence like both at the same time. But Nick, hey, I apologize for being late. It's nice to finally see you face to face because it's usually you're on or I'm on Clay's, and it's great to finally get to talk some hockey with you, especially with the game. I missed a bit of it, but I'm not going to redo all the questions. I guess I'll just sort of go through. You guys were talking about the logo earlier. There's a question that I actually had for you. Didn't you guys have, I don't know, I was going through Twitter at one time and it was the whole, woke time where people are saying they should change the name or they change the logo. And then what they actually did was just only tweaked it a little bit with, I think it was the axes or something like that. Do you remember that happening at all?
The Hawks never changed any of their logos when that happened. What the Blackhawks actually have done, since they're named after Native American chief Blackhawk, and what they did is they actually went to the actual tribe of chief that was from Chief Blackhawk to do some donations, work with them, and work into showing more of the history of what the namesake of the team is from. Truly, yes, originally when the team was founded, it was named after the World War I military regiment, the Blackhawk Regiment, which was named after Chief Blackhawk. But the Hawks have done so much with Native Americans over the time when that all was occurring back in, it was pretty much when COVID was going on.
Yeah, and I remember it was COVID.
Yeah, when that was all going on, the Hawks have really done a lot with them. Before every game, they do a land video where they talk about the history of Chief Blackhawk, of the tribes that were in the area of Chicago.
So land acknowledgement.
Yeah, they do a land acknowledgement.
That's cool.
And every around in November, they do a Native American Heritage Night where they actually bring in a ton of Native Americans to honor them at the games. By before a game, they have like they do an actual they do tribal dances in the atrium of the United Center. They do music from Native Americans at the United Center. It's actually, in my opinion, one of my favorite nights to go to at the United Center because of the kind of heritage part of it. It's one of the nicest moves that one of the NHL like any professional sports teams does, because you don't really see it around other leagues.
Cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, in
For
terms
sure.
of the name.
Yeah, because I mean,
controversy-
for Canada.
sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Irving.
I was just going to say that in terms of the name controversy, it's I think it's case to case, and the Blackhawks being one of the ones that I would consider not offensive in the way that, like, say for example, Washington Redskins or
Mhm.
Cleveland Indians, like that one's super bad. It's
Yeah.
a literal slur. That was the name of the team.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, nothing wrong with Blackhawks in my eyes.
All right.
Mhm. For sure.
Yeah, because at the time, I think it was during COVID, they like people were trying to, yeah, like what Irvin was saying in terms of the names, like the Indians or,
Mhm.
yeah, the Redskins. It was just these are teams with history, especially the Blackhawks. You guys, what is it, 100 years this year?
Yep,
And
the centennial this season.
yeah, and for these people that don't know much about sports to go, hey, that's offensive, you shouldn't be using it because of the logo you guys have of
Mhm.
it's a traditional, I guess, the Chief Blackhawk. Yeah, that was one of the questions that I was really curious about, because at that time I was thinking, what are they going to force? At that time it wasn't 100 years, but are you gonna force this team to change their logo just because now, after almost 100 years, you find it offensive? So yeah, but yeah, I really like the logo. It's yeah, as Tyler was saying, but there's a lot going on, but you don't realize there's so much color into it. There's a lot of detail and thought that's put into it. So
Yeah.
thanks for that, Nick.
Yeah.
No problem.
And the red really pops too on the jersey. The red really
Mhm.
pops. I do like their black variation that they've used in the past. I really like that one.
The black jersey is
particularly-
my favorite. That one
Yeah.
will always be my favorite jersey in their team history, because frankly, the black jersey was my first Blackhawk jersey I ever owned. As a kid, was a youth-sized Jonathan Toews black jersey, and then the next year they retired the freaking jersey for up
Mhm.
until this season and finally brought it back.
Yeah. They've had a plethora of jerseys too, even like during like the winter classics and stuff like
Mhm.
that with little tweaks on it. Even those ones are come out fantastic.
Yeah, I have one right here. Yeah, like
Yeah,
this one
that
from
one.
last year.
Yeah, that one's nice.
Multiple
Pizza
winter
dish.
classics.
Yeah, we've had too many outdoor
Yeah.
games and we suck outdoors. So I
Well,
think we're
at least you've had more than one.
Yeah.
well.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
I mean, we have pretty much about the same winning percentage outdoors as Vancouver. So
Just real quick, I just want to thank Tyler for having us on, as I have to leave pretty quickly here. I'm actually on my way to a pickup game. I just have one last question for Nick before I go. April 26th, 2011, Alex Burrows Slay the Dragon goal. We all remember it. I want to know what your thoughts and feelings were being on the other side.
Oh, that was a painful night. That was a painful night. Because I was like, the Hawks just came back down from 3-0 in this series. I'm like, maybe we have an opportunity here to actually do the comeback, but usually 3-0 deficit's one of the most difficult parts to come back from. I mean, I was only 12 when that series took place.
Gosh.
So when that series took place, I'm still kind of new to watching hockey full time, because
Mhm.
when I started watching Blackhawks hockey full time was every game. I haven't missed a game. My streak still lives today since 2009. So I have not missed a game
Amazing.
since then. And it's like that game was really the first time I really witnessed the Blackhawks truly lose. And I didn't know what it was like, because I knew they lost in the 09 Western Conference Final, but that team was so young that year. But that was the first time it just felt heart wrenching, because after that series, I remember it almost led to Stan Bonehead of the to almost trade Patrick Kane to the Buffalo Sabres for Ryan Miller. I remember that
Wow.
almost happening, and I was like, I would not be good today.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
It's
that
amazing.
era is always going to be very memorable for guys like
Mm,
us of our age. And it
Mhm.
just really goes to show you what a team can do when you've got an owner who backs the team and swings big,
yeah.
right? Like you remember they went after Brian Campbell, who was the big fish in free agency. They went after Marion Hossa, because they knew they had those cornerstone pieces in Kane, Taves, and Keith.
Mhm.
And if they just surrounded them,
Mhm.
they could do special things. But yeah, that series is pretty crazy, because if you remember, Game 6 to tie
Mhm.
the series was also won in overtime.
Yeah.
And when that goal went in, I thought it was completely over. I was like,
If I
ever
remember correctly, that was Ben Smith in overtime.
yeah, that was the
And that was,
cramp.
if I
That was the
remember
Corey
correctly,
Schneider cramps
yeah.
game. Yeah.
I think that was also Ben Smith's first NHL goal, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really?
I'm not 100% sure if that's true. It's been so long since that happened, but I do remember Ben Smith in overtime, because the weird thing with Ben Smith, he does have his name on the Stanley Cup in 2013. He only played one game that entire season, and it came in the Stanley Cup final in game 3 when it would have been game 3 when Marian Hossa had to miss that game. Ben Smith played that one game that entire year, gets his name on the cup in 2013.
That's all you need.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Nick, Tyler, G, you guys around? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for coming on, Irv.
Yep. Take care.
We'll see you later, buddy.
Yeah,
Have a good
go
game.
score a goal for us. Yeah, go score a goal for us. um, here. Go to that. There we go. But yeah, definitely fond memories from 2011. Oh, good. Rain actually has a question for you, Nick.
Okay.
I'm going to highlight this. Do you see Blashill being the coach when Chicago is an official cup contender, or is he just for the rebuild? His stint in Detroit was one playoff run and then 6 years of missing.
That's actually a good question. With Blashill, I know he only had the 1 year of playoffs with Detroit and 6 years of misery. Well, when he became head coach in Detroit, it was that team was already on the turning into the turning point into the bad era of Detroit hockey because they were already going to lose Datsuk to that off season. They were going to lose. I believe they lost Cronwall that year as well. The team started already to fall apart that year. They barely made the playoffs that season in Detroit. And then after that, they just became a rebuilder from there on. Blashill then took his time in coming back to become a head coach by being an assistant coach in Tampa Bay for the last 3 years under John Cooper, which is arguably the best head coach in the NHL right now. And I think that's going to help him learn from mistakes that he would have had in Detroit. I like Blashill as a head coach for the Hawks. It's hard to say if he will be with the team as a contender because usually lifespan of a head coach in the NHL at average now, if I remember correctly from last off season, it said the average lifespan of a head coach is 2.5 years. I think Blashill has more leeway in Chicago because it seems like he's gotten more out of Connor Bedard than what Luke Richardson was able to get out of him, and under Sorensen last year as an interim head coach. I think what we could see if the Hawks make the playoffs with Blashill, he would stick around for some time. If they don't think he's going to get them over the hump, that's when they probably have to make a change. But really, I like what Blashill's doing. I just don't. It's just hard to say right now if he's a true coach to be a cup contender.
For sure. I mean, you say 2.5 year lifespan head coach. That probably means us Canuck fans might be stuck with Adam Foote for the next 2.5 years, which Canuck fans probably aren't too looking forward to. But we'll see what happens.
Yo, I'm back.
Sorry, I'm just chatting with you there.
Sweet.
I know. Hopefully it's not 2.5 years, but we'll see. We'll see. Is there? I do want to highlight this. I know Urban's gone, but he'll probably watch the replay. Get a Gordie Howe hat trick. Get pickups for him. Do it.
I haven't looked at the schedule, but is this the last game for the Canucks and the Blackhawks?
It is. They've played all 3 games today. The last time they played was back in November now?
Yeah.
And then this was the last time they play each other this season. So next season, I know the Hawks will be traveling out to Vancouver twice, and Vancouver probably will travel out to Chicago once. Or whoever knows what's happening with the global series, because it sounds like the Hawks are in it this coming year because they emailed all season ticket holders. Since next year the NHL is going to the 82 game, 80 from 82 to 84. That means 1 extra home game for each team. The Hawks are still at 41 home games next year. So we'll see what happens.
It's probably going to be another outdoor game for Chicago then.
No, it sounds like it's going to be probably a Europe trip. Go over to play in the global series. The NHL hasn't officially announced the global series yet. So a lot of Hawks fans are already speculating it's the global series since all the outdoor games have been announced by the NHL for this upcoming year. So I would assume next year the Hawks will be out in Europe for probably a 2-game set, maybe a 1-game set, because the last time they were in global series was in 2019 against Philadelphia in the Czech Republic, where They only played one game, not 2 games that year.
Have you ever gone to global series or games outside of the US?
I wish. I really wish, because back in 2019, I was trying to get tickets for that game with the Hawks in Philadelphia in the Czech Republic, since I do have family in Prague. My cousin, he's my age. We both love hockey, and we would have gone to that game together in Prague, but the tickets sold out immediately. He was going to buy the tickets, and I was going to pay him for my ticket, and I would have flown out to the Czech Republic to go to that game. Tickets sold out so quick, wasn't able to make it out there. And I hope if everything works out, if they are in it, maybe I can make a trip out for a global series this year.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually been to
Yeah,
one.
it'd be pretty cool.
I've been to one when it was in China.
Oh, the China game out.
Canucks actually did.
Wow. What year was that?
So the one that I went to was actually Flames against Bruins.
Oh, okay.
And that was in Shenzhen and also in Shanghai. This was, I believe, 2016.
Okay,
I think it was 2016.
I remember when they did that.
Yeah. And that was the craziest experience, because, as you know, the hockey back in China wasn't huge back then. Mm-hmm. Now it is, because they actually have, I believe Beijing has the Dragons. That's part of the KHL.
Yeah.
And it's like a huge, even in Hong Kong, there's league games now after, I think it's been the past maybe 10 years. Okay. And going to that game at that point, there wasn't a lot of fans. And I can't remember how I got tickets, but we got there late. It was a buddy of mine that's from Vancouver. The two of us went. So from Hong Kong to Shenzhen, we took a tour bus, an actual bus. So they have stations from Hong Kong up to there. And the arena itself is northern of the city of Shenzhen. And I actually went back there twice. I remember this game very vividly because I lost my iPhone there. And that was the last time I used an iPhone. So it was iPhone 7 at the time.
Okay.
And in the arena, there's no concessions.
Really?
No, nothing. It's just a bare bone arena that people play. They had it there for sports. So they weren't really trying to have sports games that people attend to. I think it was maybe like a 5,000 to 6,000, between 5,000 and 8,000 seater. So everything was lower bowl. It was great. The view was amazing. Matthew Tkachuk played in that game because the game somehow went to shootouts. Obviously, there was 2 games I was played there, and it went to shootouts just for the hell of it. I think it was maybe staged, and so the crowd gets to experience what a shootout is. And I think the Flames won. I still have cards from there. The second game was actually, they did 2, one in Beijing and one in Shanghai. And I believe it was Canucks and Kings. And even before that, before the 2018 one, it was 2017 or 2018, I can't remember, but the Sedins actually did one. But that one was Sweden, I believe. Yeah.
So, I think I remember when they were out there in Sweden for the Sedins.
Yeah. So the Canucks have actually been part of Global Series in the past. So I think Canucks are one of the teams that have been doing it more so than, I mean, it works out eventually because the outdoor games, a lot of the American stadiums will get them. Funny enough, this season, Florida did theirs. Yeah. And their weather is even warmer than us. So I think for Canucks fans, it's bound to happen at some point. But once they announce it, it's going to be 2-3 years out So probably 2029, 2030. Hopefully by that time, the Canucks are more relevant and the rebuild is somewhat half done. But yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be in an outdoor game while in a middle of a rebuild, because last year that's what happened with the Hawks, and it turned out to be a complete disaster for how the Hawks looked. The splitting.
Was it that bad?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was at the game at Wrigley Field last year, and I will say this: some of the players were vividly upset after losing that game. The media guys were saying they remember Kyle Davidson went down to the locker room after the game, and it sounded like he ringed the Hawks a whole new one, because that game meant so much to the fan base, because we knew last year we were going to suck, and we did not, and we knew, okay, just go to this game. Maybe this will be what starts the spark to go the trajectory upward. It was not. It was really an ugly game.
It's a shame, and it's very tough because they obviously plan these ahead of time, and it's usually minimum 2 years that they plan it, and then they announce it. So it would have sucked if Vancouver had an outdoor game or some sort of, like, even Global Series. It's fine because it's for whatever market that they're doing it for. But for an outdoor game that has a capacity of over 50,000 people, and you do this whole big shebang, and the team is not really relevant, it just sucks. So, but yeah, actually, I'm not sure if you guys talked about this in the beginning for the intro. If you did, then we can scrap it. But we're actually still live. We're live on Headspace Hockey. So this is the first time that I am speaking with Nick with Tyler. And just wanted to give a little info on who Nick is from Windy Hockey, and maybe we could promote the channel a bit, and so people can go over if they want to know more about the Blackhawks, or if they actually follow Bedard and they want more content. Where do they go, and when and how did you start?
Well, I started Windy City Hockey back in the summer of 2018, the day the Blackhawks traded Marian Hossa's contract to the Arizona Coyotes. Mainly just because I knew that was when the team, at that point, it was an end of an era. Hossa being my favorite all-time hockey player. Before he was a Blackhawk, I was a Hossa fan then, and I'm like, seeing Hossa's career end the way it did sucks, and then the trading his contract to the Coyotes, I understood it, but it was kind of bittersweet when it happened. And ever since then, I just stuck to making videos whenever some news broke. And every game, I have a review video of how the game went from my point of view of how I watched it. If I'm at a game, I do a short review from the stadium, like at the United Center. This coming Monday, I will have a short review when they play the Utah Mammoth. Because I live 4.5 hours away from the United Center, and I don't want to be filming a review when I get home, which takes about 10 minutes to record and another 20 minutes to edit. But it's like, I would rather have the video out, like the short review, give a short synopsis of the game from how I thought I saw how I played. But you could find me at Windy City Hockey on YouTube, at WC Hockey on Twitter or X. I still call it Twitter, or at Windy City Hockey on like Instagram. Pretty much whenever news breaks for the Hawks, or once Connor Bedard signs that extension, I will have a video out.
Just so I'm just going to type this into the chat, and we'll throw it up there. So it's Windy Hockey, hockey with a, right?
It here I got
HAWKEY, right?
Windy City Hockey. There you go. In the private chat, I'm assuming that's where you're wanting. I put it.
Let's see here. Yeah, perfect. I will put that in the chat. So if any of you are there and you want to check out Nick's content, go give him a follow. Go give him a like on some of the videos, and that'd be amazing. Another thing that I was actually really interested in is because you live about 4 hours away from Chicago and you drive there and back after every game. You're a season ticket holder, I believe, or a half season ticket holder.
A half season.
Half season. How, like, it just amazes me, just the fandom that you have and willing to drive almost, what is it, like 8 hours back and forth?
Just under 9 hours.
Yeah, 9 hours of driving. That's dedication and passion for your team. You are, I believe, a little closer to you live in enemy territory, technically. You're closer to St. Louis from what I remember, right?
I am 20 minutes away from Enterprise Center.
Yes. So this is the question, because of, I mean, you explained why you started following is because of Marian Hossa, and then it just, got you there, it got you hooked. But what made you not choose the Blues? You're 20 minutes away, man.
Well,
and sorry, one last thing I wanted to add is everyone wants to go to the Blues for some reason. Like Parayko's not leaving. And it just feels like people like going to St. Louis for some odd reason. Is there like, I mean, as a resident of St. Louis, is there a reason for that? Because during trade deadline, a lot of people are saying, oh, why didn't Parayko waive? Why are these players always going back to St. Louis? Like Keith Tkachuk went back to St. Louis. But what is the intrigue? What is bringing these people back?
Frankly, I do not know, because St. Louis is boring in my opinion. There's not much to do in St. Louis. But the reason more so how I'm a Blackhawk fan, it's basically almost a heritage thing for me. My grandmother, she went to the 1961 Stanley Cup final for the Chicago Blackhawks as a fan. She was a fan as a kid growing up, going to games. Players actually would go into my great grandfather's liquor store that was across the street from the old Chicago Stadium. After games, after practice, they would go from practice and go into the liquor store. The Hawks would sometimes give them tickets. They would go to games often. My grandma being a fan led to my dad being a fan. He would go to games a lot, and I became a fan of the Blackhawks that way. My family from Chicago. The reason why I'm down in the St. Louis suburbs area, I'm on the Illinois side of the river, not in Missouri, which Illinois side, it makes it easier to try not have to deal with going into St. Louis often. But it's more so I'm a fan because my dad was a fan, my grandmother was a fan, my great-grandfather was a fan, my great-grandmother. It's more so it's gone that way with Chicago sports. If your family is a Cub fan, you're a Cub fan. If you're a Blackhawk fan, you're a Blackhawk fan, Bear fan, Bear fan. It goes like that. And everyone in my family says I am definitely the largest Blackhawk fan in the family, just because of I haven't missed a game since 2009. They say I can easily write a book with how much knowledge I have of the Chicago Blackhawks. It's basically more so where it's all more been a family thing. I used to call my grandma after every game to give her like a little almost a little
Recap.
summary, a review of the game, and it ends up kind of is a way I ended up starting the YouTube channel in a way, because I did the reviews originally by calling my grandma after a Hawks game, and she loved it. And then I did the reviews for the YouTube channel, and it's led to other fans of the Hawks enjoying my content. But it also is like a little bit of a summary, like kind of going back to calling my grandma about watching the games and reviewing it. And that's how it pretty much is all to how it all goes. If you understand where I'm going with it.
Yeah, I kind of do. It's kind of like a tradition, like in terms of your
it's
fandom,
a tradition.
but also on with your grandma, that tradition of going to the games and telling her about it. I mean, here in Vancouver, there's a lot of Leafs fans.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Oilers fans. So those people actually live in the city, and then they come to Rogers to watch the games.
Mm-hmm.
But to have a dedicated fan like yourself drive like 4.5 hours out to Chicago when you have an arena 20 minutes away, that's dedication. So have you gone to a Hawks game in St. Louis?
Yeah, every time the Blackhawks are in town, I get tickets for those games. So there's only a few times when the Hawks are in town I don't go to it. For some odd reason, those are the games are usually the ones that don't drop in price and can't get the tickets for a fairly good price, even if both teams suck. But it's like last year I missed a game where the Hawks were in town in St. Louis, but I knew, okay, I can't go to that game. I'm going the next day in Chicago anyway, so it won't really be all too much of a miss if I'm not at that game. I'm watching it on TV, even if then I don't have to worry about if I'm at the game, team really lays an egg and plays terrible. In St. Louis, I'm at my house and just watching it at home.
So I'm glad you brought up ticket prices and all that, because in Vancouver, this is something that has been a huge, like, it's been news for a while because of the tank. Ticket prices, I think, haven't gone this low ever. So in US dollars, I believe the cheapest ticket you can get is about $30, Upper Bowl. And then Canadian wise, I think it's about $40 for a ticket. I think someone copped a $50 ticket in the lower bowls, and that's the cheapest you'll ever get. It feels, maybe because Canucks are kind of the only game in town.
Yeah.
That's why prices are so high. But given that you're in the US, what are ticket prices like? And what were ticket prices like for the Blackhawks while they were in rebuild mode?
Oh, rebuild mode?
So in a comparison now compared to the rebuild.
So since they're still in the rebuild, their tickets are still on the cheaper end of when they were in the dynasty era. But like my seats are in like the 200 level of the United Center, and that's more club level type area where you can get food delivered right to your seat. But it's more so if I buy a ticket at the United Center on Second Market, probably about $75. I could get up in the 300 level. Down in the 100 level, probably somewhere around 150, 160-ish. In St. Louis, I could easily compare it easier because I've done it a few times. I've seen the Edmonton Oilers in St. Louis, so you have Connor McDavid coming into town. I've sat on the glass for $5.
I'm sorry, $5.
Yes.
How does that even happen?
That there's times in St. Louis you can get tickets 2 hours before, like, and get them for $5, and they can be right in the lower bowl, sometimes down by the glass. And I was able to see Connor McDavid down on the glass for $5. That was last season. This season I've seen the Winnipeg Jets in St. Louis, so I could see Jonathan Toews mainly. I paid $3 for the ticket, and I was sitting right behind the bench of the Jets.
Okay, this just makes me feel like, okay, Tyler, we need to go to St. Louis.
Holy crap.
And watch a Canucks game in St. Louis if it's prices like that. It's like they're giving away tickets. And we thought they're giving away tickets here.
That's pretty much secondary market, like when it's getting closer to the game. Since I live 20 minutes to the arena, it's nothing to get to the arena for me. I could just hop in my car, get it over there in 20 minutes, and I will pay more for the parking versus going into the stadium.
So it takes you 20 minutes to walk there, or to
drive.
To drive, okay.
Yeah, I live on the Illinois side. If I was to walk there, that probably I can't really. I would not be able to do it because there's walking to St. Louis is pretty much impossible if you're on the Illinois side of the river, because you'll have to cross the Mississippi on either interstate bridge on 3 interstate bridges, which not safe to do that. But it's a 20-minute drive to the arena for me, so I'm able to just say, if I find tickets for $3, I will buy it. If the Blackhawks aren't playing that night, I will buy it. Last year, the Frozen Four was in St. Louis for the NCAA. Bought tickets for $5, and I saw both Frozen Four games for $5 down on the glass.
Damn. So Chicago prices are keeping it up there, but St. Louis is just, it's like Tampa. I remember hearing Tampa tickets were like $12.
Yeah. I will say this. You have to find the right time of day on the day of the game to get the tickets for super cheap like that. Otherwise, you're still paying probably $65 if you want to buy them ahead of time. So I'm like trying to find the best deal, waiting if I want to go to a random game on a Tuesday night. I know the Blackhawks aren't playing. I'm waiting until the prices are plummeting, and that's when I would probably buy a ticket.
Yeah, I really wish Vancouver can do that. I mean, they can right now for a couple of years, I would say. But it's going to be tough for season ticket holders like myself and Clay. Not even sure if we're gonna re-up this year because the tickets are so expensive, and and I'll have to talk to the partners because we share. There's 3 of us that share the season, and it's tough. I mean, when I was doing it with this other partner during COVID, like the 21 season, 22, like it was even hard to give away tickets, but we were paying like premiums for it, lower bowl. So that's why we moved up to upper bowl, closer to center ice. You know, it's cheaper, better view. But yeah, in terms of United Center, it's also one of the stadiums that I've always wanted to go. I think it's kind of like Bell Center in Montreal. It's like the mecca of hockey. Like it's one of those arenas that you need to go to experience what hockey's all about. Vibes there are probably insane, right? In Chicago.
Well, it's called the Madhouse on Madison for a reason. It's a lot of fun to be in the United Center. I would say the loudest I've ever been in the United Center actually came this season. Jonathan Taze's return to the United Center for the first time was one of the best experiences I've ever had witnessing in the United Center. The crowd would not stop cheering when Jonathan Taze hit the ice, and when they did the welcome home type video package and had him skate around the ice. It took almost like, if I remember correctly, it took like 8 minutes for Jonathan Taze to have to tell the fans to say, okay, settle down, and go back so they could get the game back and going. It was one of the loudest I've ever seen it. Another loud time would have been Marian Hossa's banner raising ceremony, or even Jonathan Taze's last game as a Chicago Blackhawk. That was another outstanding time I was in the United Center for. I became a season ticket holder pretty much right the season after the COVID season, and that's pretty much how I've gone to games beforehand, but my experiences as a season ticket holder have been more so like honoring the greats of the team. I'm waiting for when we get back to playoff hockey at the United Center. I know it's one of the craziest stadiums to be in for the NHL when it comes to playoff hockey.
I think at some point in time when I mean the tickets right now are still okay. Tyler and I should make a trip out to Chicago, and we should all go to a game. We'll wear our Canucks jerseys, you wear your Hawks jersey, and hopefully we won't get into a fight and have people, you know, pull our jerseys off our backs. But
that will happen.
It would be amazing to experience the Madhouse in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. It's one. It's an amazing time to be in the United Center, especially when the Blackhawks are winning. Have not had that in a while, so we'll see when everything starts turning a page when the Hawks are ready to compete. Which maybe in 2 years we see the Hawks probably as a wild card team. The team has a future, and it's starting to get going. Ticket prices are going up. It's showing the fans are getting ready to. The fan base is ready for something to happen, for this fan base to explode again. Like last year, there was a lot of issues. Fans weren't really going to a lot of games, and they couldn't watch games on TV in Chicago. Because they changed the TV network over to a company that ended up becoming owned by the Blackhawks and Bulls. It did not work out for distribution for cable companies or streaming service. and it led to the fan base to, in my opinion, it was killing the fan base last year. They've been able to get on TV again. Fan base has been, the fans have been much more entertained, and it seems like the fans are ready to have something happen for it to explode again like it was back in the 2010s.
I think with the timeline of your rebuild and our rebuild, so it might be 5 years that we'll have that rivalry again. Because I remember back in the day, man, Canucks fans hated Hawks fans with a
Hawks
passion.
fans hated Canuck fans. That was a true rivalry. I wish the NHL would go back to 1 versus 8 versus compared. I hate the division playoffs. You get rivalries built when it's 1v8 versus not the dumb playoffs format of you're playing your division for the first 2 rounds and then you play the other division in the conference final. Get rid of it. Go back to 1v8. You have better rivalries. Rivalries don't have to just be division opponents.
But don't you think the rivalry, they're trying to create these rivalries because it's part of the same division. So every year, like right now, we'll say the Central for one. It's a shame because you have the best team in the Wild that just, went out there and did some spending this season. A lot of spending before Kaprizov's contract kicks in at 16 or 17, almost 16 point something. And then you have the Avs going for Kadri. So you're going to have the most exciting hockey in the first round, and then one of those teams are going to be gone. Like, it does suck. So I do agree that, they should go back to 1 and 8. But what do you think about going on the lines of what the NBA has done and doing play-in rounds? So you do 1 to 6, and then 8 through 10. You do like a 1 game, a single elimination. Whoever wins it gets to go and take up the spot.
Personally, I'm not a fan of it. I get it would lead to more revenue to the teams and more revenue into the league that way. I personally just don't think it would work for building building rivalries within the league. I get the league thinks building a rivalry within division works, but when you can build rivalries out of division, out of conference, it actually can be some of the best in sports. Like, for instance, after the Hawks played Boston in the 2013 Stanley Cup final, everyone hated each other. The fans were going back and forth at each other for a good 2-3 years, even though that's the only time they played each other in the playoffs. Blackhawk fans, Canuck fans, for instance, the rivalry that was built from 2009 to 2011. It was one of the best rivalries in the sport. It leads to more storyline into games when if you have a team that has played each other out of division multiple times in the playoffs or multiple years, it just seems like it gives big storylines and much more energy to the game. And I personally I will always say it, 1v8's the best way of going. The play-in, I'm not a big fan of. The bubble playoffs, yes, the Hawks were successful in the bubble playoffs because they were able to knock out the Edmonton Oilers. But I was like, we're the 24th team in the playoffs. This should not happen. We should not be here. We suck. We should be in the lottery going for a ping pong ball. But that was a fun time. But I'm like, we should not be here. I don't like the play-in type of action because you're going to have a team upset a team, and then that team who's upsets one team, they're going to be knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. In my opinion, it just does not really work well.
That's an interesting take because, the whole play-in round, there's a mix between the people that I've spoken with about. Some love it, some kind of like you don't like it because it's like, what's the point? Like, it's just one more extra game of game revenue. But I'm sure, our owner Frankie Aquilini would love that because it's an extra one game of revenue, which he'll sell the team for, or sell the farm for in terms of picks. But yeah, it would be interesting to see. But to have it 1v8, it would be great because you don't have it locked into those three teams. Like some divisions are weaker than others. Mm-hmm. Like say the Pacific, like you still don't know who's going to get in. Yeah. And you have the Atlantic, like the Islanders are tied second with the Pens right now. Mm-hmm. So one of these teams are not going to make it. And then it just forces these good divisions like the Central. The Pacific was great at one point.
Oh, yeah.
That was when the Avs and Canucks and, those were the days. But that was not, it was 1v8 at that time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think they need to change it because it just feels like it's every year it's the same thing. Every year it's, Pacific for us, it's going to be Vegas, Edmonton, and LA, or, it might be different this year, but it's always going to be Edmonton versus LA or Edmonton versus it. We're just tired of it. And, some teams get an easier route to get into the playoffs because of that. And I think at some point the league needs to change it and realize that this isn't like it was great for a few years. It's been, I don't know, almost 10 years. I'm not too sure.
They went to this format in 2014, if I remember correctly. So it's been 12 years now, something like that. Yeah.
So 12 years, it's time for a change. And we need the Canucks need to see the Hawks in a couple of years and spark that rivalry again.
And then you will have the storyline of Connor Bedard versus hometown team in a playoff. That would be something that could really sell tickets in itself.
Exactly. But the NHL and Bettman hate the West Coast. They hate the Canucks, so I don't think that's ever going to happen.
I think they also hate the Central Division because they put the Arizona Coyotes in the Central Division when they are not central. They were not a Central Time team at all. Frankly, the Central Division has the worst traveling between every team because you have teams so spread out in the division.
Yeah.
And I just think I would personally realign the divisions in a way like you have the Great Lake division. You have you'll have Toronto, Chicago, Detroit, Pittsburgh. It's something like that. Something like that. You would have a Pacific Northwest division. You could come up with division names in a way where it works. I'm more like the NHL needs to maybe look into a realignment because I personally would be I want to play Detroit 4 or 5 times a year again, not twice a season. I miss being in a division with the Detroit Red Wings, frankly.
No, but I don't know if you're old enough to remember this. Detroit used to be in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
They were Western Conference champs for the longest time.
And that's why
they're out east.
Yeah, and I miss the time the Blackhawks and Red Wings were in the same division because it led to the Hawks not being the only original 6 team in the Western Conference because you would have the Blackhawks and Red Wings, one of the league's oldest rivalries in its history. It's a centennial rivalry in itself because both teams are both celebrating their centennial, and both teams historically hate each other. Ever since they moved Detroit over east, it killed the rivalry. It does not feel like a rivalry anymore.
Because you guys, they see each other so little. It's probably 3 times a year, as
Twice.
compared to twice,
Yeah,
one each. Okay.
Yeah, they play one each, and it's just sucks to see it that way because it used to be Blackhawks, Red Wings at least 5 times a year. Sometimes you get lucky 6 or 7 times a year. Now it's just Blackhawks versus Red Wings on a random Tuesday night or a random like Thursday night where it's 2 games, one in one season. It's really killed the rivalry for a historic value, and the fan bases seem to not really hate each other any more than they used to, because in Chicago, we usually chant "Let's go Hawks" for all Hawks home games. When Detroit comes to town, it's Detroit sucks. It always has been Detroit sucks. But when with the rivalry, it's really not the same anymore.
So what's the biggest rivalry right now, or what team do Hawks fans hate the most at this point right now?
At this point right now,
Or there isn't one? Because you guys are still rebuild mode.
yeah, it's probably San Jose.
Really? Wow. Oh, because of Celebrini.
The Celebrini Bedard factor is becoming a rivalry in itself, but it's more so fans have been going at each other the last couple of years because of the 2 rebuilding teams, and it's way each team started their rebuilds about the same year. Each team are like, your team's still going to suck when we are coming out of it. It looks like that's going to be San Jose right now. But I personally, I wouldn't say it's San Jose, but as a fan to fan type of thing, I see it, I read it, I look at social media. Blackhawk fans and San Jose fans do go at each other's throats in recent time, but it is probably largest rival would probably be St. Louis. Sometimes St. Louis doesn't even view the Hawks as a true rival. Right, with how St. Louis has been more competitive in the last 5 years, Hawks haven't. But it's hard to say. I personally hate Nashville, always will, especially after what they did to us in 2017. That one's really heart-wrenching. But
ouch.
Yeah, I hate Nashville, but there's a lot. I've never viewed Minnesota as a rival, even though we played the Wild 3 years in a row in the playoffs from 2013 to 2015. I never viewed them as a rival because they were our punching bag for so many years. And right now, Minnesota would say that we aren't rivals because the Hawks have been the punching bag in the regular season. The Hawks haven't beat in Minnesota in 18 games. So it's it's hard to say who truly is the number 1 rival for the Chicago Blackhawks at this moment, because the Hawks have been rebuilding for the last handful of years now.
Okay, I'm going to ask Tyler the same question. Who do you think the biggest rival for the Canucks are right now, then? If we have one.
Question.
Because it's funny, if you go
gotta think about that
geographically, it should be the Kraken.
Yeah, I gotta. Mm-hmm.
Because the Kraken fans come up the border pretty much
The
every
Oilers?
time they play. Yeah, maybe. Oh, I don't know. We just hate McDavid, so only until he plays for the Olympics or Four Nations. But aside from that, it's kind of like Brad Marchand, same thing. Like we don't like him unless he's playing for Team Canada. So
Yeah.
But yeah. Sorry, I've been asking all the questions, Tyler. Like, do you have something you want to get off your chest?
It's all good. Yeah, no, it's just like with my wife. She hates Sidney Crosby because she's from Philadelphia, but she doesn't cheer for Canada. She cheers for the U.S. But it's that type of thing, like she won't hate him as much. We'll put it that way during when it's the Olympic hockey. But yeah, actually, I think we had a question way back. And actually one from Urban as well, from Justin. Wanted to ask Nick, who do you think has a higher upside between Nazar, Korchinski, and Levshunov? Would you like to give each of their games?
Ooh. Justin, sorry I didn't see the question earlier, so I want to apologize on that part. But right now it's the higher ceiling, higher upside. It's between Levshunov and Nazar. It's hard to say what's going on with Korchinski. I personally am a big fan of Korchinski, but it feels like he's not developing fast enough for the team where he's getting passed up in the depth role and the depth of the Hawks system, because he just played 2 games in a row for the Hawks and played a whole whopping 14 total minutes in those 2 games, because he played 8 minutes in one game and 6 minutes in the next. And then he was just sent down to Rockford. It's hard to say what's going on with Korchinski. Nazar has a high ceiling. He just needs to be more consistent when it comes to his offensive side of the game. He has a good defensive mindset, good mind on ice. He's still learning how to become more consistent when it comes to scoring. Yes, he scored today, but he could also go on a 20-game goalless drought, which he just had this year. He has now 3 goals since Halloween. It's not a lot. Levshunov, you get a roller coaster with Levshunov. I love him. I was on team draft already before everyone, where a lot of fans were on team draft Demidov. I was like, we need a good defensive prospect. I witnessed Levshunov play in college before, and I liked his game. Frankly, oddly enough, that was Levshunov's last ever college hockey game I got to see him play, and it was technically Frank Nazar's second to last college game, because they were playing each other in the NCAA tournament, and it took place in St. Louis. And so I was able to witness them play each other before Levshunov was a prospect, but for the Hawks, and I knew Nazar was a prospect. It's a roller coaster with Artie, because he has so much raw talent. He just needs to figure out how to put it together. He looks like right now he's thinking too much on ice. Like today, there were a lot of opportunities he should have shot the puck, and then there were a couple opportunities he should have passed it. he looks like right now he's thinking. He's a 20-year-old defenseman in the NHL. You're going to get that. And Nazar, this is his first year of pro hockey, first full season of pro hockey, second year of pro hockey altogether. Like NHL level hockey, first full year, second full year of pro. I would say Lechinov has the higher ceiling and Nazar's just behind him. So like going depth role, you're going to have Connor Bedard top. Then Lechinov right now at number 2. I would then put Anton Frundell at number 3. And then Nazar at number 4. I know I didn't mention Frundell, but Frundell is seemingly to be a legit prospect who the Hawks took at 3rd overall last year, and looks like he's going to be making his NHL debut in the next couple of weeks here once Djurgården and the Swedish league is once Djurgården's season's over and the Swedish league, because I don't know if they're in a playoff spot right now. If they are not favored to make it out of the first round.
No, I'm glad you brought up Frondell because I was watching the Olympics and watching Team Sweden. Dude, this kid is he's good, man. Like I'm really happy for the Hawks to pick that guy up. Holy crap. Just like, I don't know if you watched the Olympics. Did you watch the...
Yeah. He didn't play the Olympics. He was playing the World Juniors. That's where he was shot.
Right. The World Juniors. Yeah. Sorry, I was watching... I got it mixed up, but I was watching the World Juniors too, and I think it was against Sweden. It was that last game that they were neck and neck, and then it went to shootout, and I think it ended up being 6-7 rounds of shootout, and he was the one that won it, wasn't it?
Can't remember exactly, but Frundell, he has a lethal shot, I would say, from that circle, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do with it in the NHL because it's an NHL ready, basically half slap shot, half one timer. I'm ready to see what he has because his build is like Alex Barkov. He has, and I feel like, and he plays a similar style as Barkov, with a higher offensive output. I'm looking forward to seeing what Frundell can do with this young Blackhawk team when he is up in probably two-ish weeks, probably 3 at most, because it sounds like he's going to leave when his team's done in Sweden for the season. He's immediately coming to the Chicago Blackhawks and playing NHL games this season. And the Hawks have already signed him to his ELC. It's going to happen, and people are already in Chicago getting pumped for Frundell's NHL debut.
Yeah, the reason why I kind of want to bring that up is it kind of alludes to World Juniors and how Canucks fans might be seeing, hopefully, McKenna, who was also in that tournament, who also was a beast. But with Frondell, because he was drafted last year, they still waited. They still had to wait a whole year. But for McKenna, I think he could probably, I don't know if you watched any of his games, but potentially, if the Canucks are lucky enough to draft him, do you think he can be slotted in right away?
I do. I've actually, since I do watch college hockey too, I've made sure to be putting Penn State games on because I knew the Hawks are going to also probably be in position for a lottery. So I do keep eyes on players like McKenna. Whoever's going to draft McKenna, he is going to play on opening night of the NHL. That's how it is. He's going.
That's good to hear.
I don't think McKenna is going to play another season in college. I just think McKenna is going to make that jump, even though, yeah, he had that issue, but I understand if the word, what happened, why he did punch the guy. I don't want to get all into it. I would understand it, but at first I was thinking that could tank his draft stock, but it sounds and it hasn't. In fact, I think it may have helped him because after that incident, McKenna's been the best player in college hockey.
Do you see the game? He had, what is it, 8 points? I think it was a goal and 7 assists.
Something.
And a lot of them were primary assists too.
Yeah. McKenna is going to make the jump to the NHL right out of the draft. Then you also have Ivan Stenberg from Sweden.
Stenberg.
Yeah, Stenberg. He's another player to watch out for. I would be like, if the Hawks are in the top 2 or if the Canucks are in the top 2, one of us would have a legit prospect on our hands because they're both probably going to make the jump to the NHL day one.
But I think it sounds more like, I mean, we don't know. Canucks luck, lottery, we've never really had luck. But if Canucks are able to get the McKenna, you guys get Stenberg, then you have Stenberg and Frundell. And they played quite well together in that tournament. So
yeah. Or if, like, for instance, you guys take Stenberg, Hawks take McKenna, then the Hawks can unite the two cousins together in Chicago.
Okay, fine. You guys have the storylines. Whatever, man.
I'm just saying, you can unite Bedard and McKenna. You have the cousin storyline. The Hawks already had the great uncle of Connor Bedard, James Bedard, played for the Blackhawks back in the, I believe it was the 40s or 50s. So there's a story, like a family heritage right in Chicago for the Bedard family. Granted, yes, McKenna is is cousins by marriage, and it's like distant cousins for Bedard and McKenna, but it's a cool storyline. But if Stenberg comes to the Hawks, the way he and Frundell were in the World Juniors, it was electric. I'm okay with either or if it comes down to that.
Dude, immediately, do you think that would be your fourth line duo or third line duo? Probably start off with fourth line to open the night. Opening night.
For
Frundell and Stenberg.
I would say it's probably second line.
Wow, that high up.
Mm-hmm.
That high up. Okay.
I'm already once Frundell makes his NHL debut, I'm slotting him on that first line with Connor Bedard this year.
Wow.
I would say I could see that as the first line, and then if like Stenberg got drafted to the Hawks, they would probably play on a second line together because what they were able to do together in the World Juniors for Sweden.
Wow. Okay, you guys heard it first here, man. I mean, we'll see at the draft, but
yeah, the lottery's still probably 2 months away, something like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be, I think, second round they'll do the draft at the second round of the playoffs. That's when they usually do it.
Yeah, that's usually about right. So about 2 months, we'll see draft lottery results already out. It will be interesting to see what happens because I'm really hoping St. Louis does not land one of those top 2 picks.
You and I both. There's another question from Swervin. Hopefully he'll rewatch it.
That makes
but
three of us.
but can you take us back? I mean, maybe prepare the Canucks fans.
Oh my god! I actually have video of my basically I instantly recorded it. That day when the Hawks won the draft lottery, I was in shock, and I felt like the Hawks literally just. It felt like how it was when the Hawks won the Stanley Cups. I don't want to compare it to it because we just had one of the worst seasons in Blackhawks history that year. And we just lost Jonathan Toews. He just retired. And we all thought he just retired. And Patrick Kane was just traded at the deadline that year in 23. I was like, the Hawks are going to be in a position, if they can draft Connor Bedard, this might accelerate this rebuild. If they end up winning the lottery. But then I was like, okay, lottery's happening. Seeing Bill Darrelly flip those cards, I'm like, we just moved up when they when Kevin Weeks literally kind of leaked it by saying it on TV. Okay, it's down to the Anaheim Ducks and Chicago Blackhawks to the first overall pick, and they haven't even. They were going to announce the third overall pick after the commercial break. I'm like, did he just leak that we just moved up? And I'm like, okay, here we go. And I was starting to feel it. I'm like, we're going to get him. It's happening. As soon as that card flipped for Chicago, I jumped out of my chair, nearly hitting my ceiling in my basement out of pure joy because I just witnessed terrible hockey all year, ready for that day to come for Blackhawks to have their next top prospects, now top player, come their way. It was just pure joy. And like, what are we going to do? We don't have anyone in the system to really go with them other than Frank Nazar. Now we've built the team up, and I'm liking what the Hawks are doing with Connor Bedard.
I mean, he had the sophomore slump, but
Yeah,
he's back. He's back, and he's ready to go. Hopefully the Canucks fans, we get a chance at McKenna, and we'll have that same sort of feeling that you got back in 22. And yeah, there's another comment. Hopefully both teams in playoffs sometime in the early 2030s, maybe 2030, 2032. Bring back the rivalry, and we'll see each other's teams a lot more at that point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there was a question by
us Canucks
Rain.
fans have the exact same reaction if they're able to draft McKenna.
Yeah, so Rain had a question earlier too.
I already
how are you on
answered
time?
that.
Oh, you answered it already? Okay,
Yeah,
great.
we've already covered this one.
Okay, that was awesome. How are we on time?
I mean, I'm good anytime. I'm
Ty?
We'd probably go another 4 minutes if you want. Just make it. I'm not picky on it. So,
Wow, that season, you guys had 68 points for Bedard.
I guess not.
The 23 season, the 22-23 season.
Was it 22, 23? Yeah. Okay, wait. Let me. Let's see here. Do you remember what the? Because you said it was one of the worst seasons.
I will.
Or
It was definitely one of the worst seasons goal scoring wise. I know that it. 2000.
59 points.
Yeah, it was a.
You guys were supposed to go third.
Yeah. I would say this. Thank you, Buddy Robertson, for changing the course of hockey of NHL history. Buddy Robertson is the main factor. The Hawks got Connor Bedard, and what the Florida Panthers have done ever since. Buddy Robertson scored the game-winning goal against the Pittsburgh Penguins in Game 81. That eliminated the Pittsburgh Penguins out of playoff contention, put the Florida Panthers right in the playoffs. It then set the Hawks within that bottom three spot. And then in Game 82, Jonathan Toews, last game of his Blackhawks season, a career, Toews, if he would have scored in overtime that night, the Hawks would have dropped to 4. San Jose would have moved up to 3. And
Damn.
San Jose could have had Connor Bedard. The Hawks ended up getting Connor Bedard because Toews unfortunately couldn't score the game-winning goal in overtime.
So things happen for a reason.
It feels like that.
Happens for a reason.
And then now you have the Florida Panthers have gone to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals ever since that incident happened.
Yeah, that was a crazy run. That was a crazy run by Florida that year.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back at the standings, Hawks and Blue Jackets were tied in points, but because the Hawks had one extra win, they fell to third. So whoever had third would be eventually drafting Bedard.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the history books for you guys.
It's always fun to look into like the what leads to certain things, like 07's NHL like for the draft lottery. I always think Patrick Stepan on just skating right past the empty net to solidify a win for the Dallas Stars in regulation. The Oilers go down the ice, tie the game up, force overtime. Dallas wins in overtime. And that led to the Oilers missing the 1 point they would have needed to be in the 5th spot. That spot ended up becoming the Blackhawks spot. Patrick Kane is to the Chicago Blackhawks because Patrick Stepan skated past the goal to fill in an empty net.
Damn, this is such interesting like facts that only Nick would know. I mean, if you guys want more of that stuff, make sure to give him a follow over at Windy City Hawkey. I mean, after talking with him, he's another encyclopedia for the Blackhawks, which is why he does this channel. So if you want to know more about Connor Bedard, some of his history, make sure you go give him a follow. Check out some of his videos and streams. I'm going to go one last question before we head off. Not sure if you know much about this, but have you watched Verhoff much?
I've watched some on Verhoff. I've watched I've been keeping track on Beerhoff. I would say I know a lot of Hawks fans actually would prefer them to draft him over Stenberg if the Hawks are in the top 3 and like one of the two drops to number 3 and the Hawks are drafting 3rd, for instance. Fans would want Beerhoff. I'm like, I understand it. I like him as a defenseman. He's a great defenseman. Whoever drafts him, they're going to have a legit star defenseman on their team. Just like Matthew Schaefer's starting out to be. I don't know if he's going to be as good as Schaefer in year 1. Because Verhoff, I think, will have to take... Defensemen are harder to really project on going into year 1, like as a 18-year-old rookie defenseman in the NHL. I would say he probably would want to stay back in 1 year to develop one more year and then move up pro. That's how I would always view for a defenseman. Take an extra year to develop, then if you want, try and go pro the next year. That's where I would be.
I think Canucks fans are very familiar with that. When Benning drafted none other than OJ Ulevy, like, just that was such a bust, like, for positional needs. So I don't know if Hawks fans really need. Well, you guys probably would need a defenseman, but to draft positional needs as opposed to actual talent, that would probably be. Like, if you guys had a chance to stab at one of the forwards, why not, right? But It is what it is, right? So, okay, cool. That's about it. That was a great show. Thank you, Nick. Really appreciate you, jumping on last minute. Like, we spoke because of the trade deadline this morning, and then Nick was nice enough to be like, "Yep, let's do a post game because Hawks and Canucks." And I'm grateful to have this opportunity because this is the first time Nick and I actually seeing face to face, not in person, but on the camera,
Through digital.
Yeah. And I'll definitely be checking out a bit more of your content and hope everyone else will. And any people that are following Windy City Hockey, that's over here, come check us out. Headspace Hockey. We're new. This is actually our 3rd live within 24 hours. It's been rough, but thank you, Tyler. Appreciate you, helping us out. This is the 2nd one today. Tyler's tired. I think he's hasn't slept all day, but I will let you finish us off.
Yeah, well, I had that 4-hour nap, and that's a big reason why I missed pretty much the entirety of the game. But it's okay. I'm just quickly posting Headspace Hockey link in the chat as well, just so that's in there as well. You guys can check it out. But yeah, no, Nick, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. Like Gerald said, pretty last minute. Hopefully we can have you on again, perhaps next season. Next time the Canucks face the Hawks, and who knows, maybe at that point it might be a battle of cousins, McKenna versus Bedard. Hopefully, fingers crossed for us Vancouver fans. That is the next time the Blackhawks face the Canucks, and hopefully it stirs up a new rivalry if that is indeed to happen. But once again, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. Guys, definitely check out Windy City Hockey on X, on YouTube. Check them out. Give them a like. Give them a subscribe. And yeah.
I think next year is way too far. I think what we talked about today, we should be hooking up at the draft. And we'll talk about the instant reaction about, is it the cousins or is it the ex-teammates? And then, we'll share our thoughts. But we'll keep in touch with Nick, and hopefully at that time in a couple of months when we know what the draft order is, then we can break that down and see what the future brings for both teams.
Yeah, I'm open anytime. Just feel free to let me know if you ever want me to hop in. I could help out with that. Whatever, I'm willing to help anyone out for their content.
Appreciate it. And speak of the devil, the one that kind of brought us all together.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of Canuck Clay. We got to meet Nick, and that's why we're
Yeah.
doing this. But Clay's in the house. You're 90 minutes late. We're not going to be extending this stream for you, but thank you for dropping by. And thank you for putting us all together. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys.
All right.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So once again, thanks, Nick. Appreciate it as always. And yeah, for sure, we'll definitely have to do some sort of draft thing. That's actually a great idea. And then maybe you can see our reaction. Hopefully we get McKenna, or heck, even if we get Stenberg, probably similar reaction, maybe more so towards McKenna. But yeah, thanks again, Nick. Really appreciate it. And it's great to have you on.
Thank you again for having me. I really appreciated it.
You gonna do your read,
All right,
Tyler? Don't forget it.
Yeah, I should do my read because I forgot it in my Connor Garland live reaction, and I'm kind of kicking myself for it because now I got to go in and edit it. But I'll do my read, and then just looking at betting odds for tomorrow. I'm just gonna look at the lines for tomorrow.
Hey Nick, are you a betting man?
Capitals, Bruins at a.
I am not. I don't really want to risk it.
Okay. Okay, let me pull one up.
But yeah, the Capitals are a +1, 1.5 at -250 on the puck line. Bruins are a -1.5 on a +205 on the puck line. Money line is -122 for the Bruins and a +102 for the Capitals. Just bear in mind, these odds are subject to change.
Is that what you're picking? Tyler, is that what are you picking for tomorrow?
I'm not sure if I'm really picking one.
Okay.
They just want us to just
read some odds. Okay, cool.
Or what the odds are, not necessarily pick. So that's what I'm just doing. Because I'm kind of like Nick. I don't really gamble either. So.
So just so you guys know, the pick that I did,
that was at least first one. I'll read the second one, which is the Rangers and Devils. Rangers.
Sorry, go ahead. You're frozen. Okay. Yeah, just so you know, I picked Quinn Hughes yesterday. He got a point today, got an assist. So, $10 got you, I think it was 16. So, for tomorrow, I don't have anything in mind. Don't really want to waste all of your time. But just looking quickly at the games tomorrow, I'm just going to pick the Lightning over the Leafs. Lightning over the Leafs at -180. $10 gets you 15. We'll just keep it at that.
All right. Yeah, that works. Yeah, that was another one that was on there. All right, there we go. All right, so that being said, this live stream, this post-game show has been a proud presentation of DraftKings Sportsbook, which is an official sports betting partner of the NHL. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props and live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN, that's code THPN, to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass through may apply in Illinois, 21 plus in most states, void in Ontario, restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which will expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. This is a limited time offer. Copyright 2026 NHL, all rights reserved. This video has been a presentation of both DraftKings Sportsbook as well as the Hawkey Podcast Network. Be sure to check out the network for your favorite podcast covering your favorite team at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com, the home of hockey podcasts, where it's every team, everywhere. All right. Well, thank you once again, Nick, for coming on. Really appreciate it, as always. Once again, thanks G for coming on as well, as always, doing this with me. And yeah, even though I didn't watch any of the game, again, seems I missed it's like what I was saying earlier when we were doing our trade deadline. Perhaps tonight's going to be an exciting game, and it looks like it was, 6-3 score. Maybe not so much on the Chicago side, but it still seemed like lots of goals scored in the game. And hey, the Canucks actually won. Keep in mind, that is their third win of 2026. They've only won 3 times in 2026.
They got half the wins of the picks that they picked up at trade deadline. So,
that makes it even more painful for me knowing it was your guys' third win of 2026.
But yeah. I'm glad we can all have a chuckle at this because we'll be happy at the draft. It's fine. We'll be good. So
yeah.
Okay. We're good, Ty?
But yeah, thanks once again. Yeah, we'll call it there. Thank you everyone who's been in chat, watched the entire thing. Shout out to Clay for popping in. Fangirl, Taylor. I didn't actually even mention Taylor. Taylor, good to see you. I know Justin was in here earlier, Rain and whatnot. But yeah, thanks again, guys. And then, hey, we'll be back tomorrow as the Canucks are playing the Jets tomorrow. So we'll have another post game tomorrow against the Jets. And yeah, I'm Tyler. He's Gerald. On the far right is Nick from Windy City Hockey. And Duolingo. Can't forget Duo. And hope you guys enjoyed. And we'll catch you guys in the next post game show.